So Boots Riley, he recently talked radicalism in art and life. Former member of the Coup and film director for Sorry to Bother You, and also the recent I Love Boosters. He recently sat down with political streamer Hasan Piker for 2 hours to talk politics and such. So I have 3 small little clips here. We'll kind of do what we did last week with the Lord Jamar stuff and play it, ask a question, talk about it, and we'll just kind of keep moving through it.
We had this song off Genocide and Juice called Fat Cats and Bigger Fish. And Fat Cats and Bigger Fish was as much of a hit as we could have had. It was just getting requested and playing all day in LA and in Chicago. It was selling 5,000 copies a week because of the radio play. Now, often when they do radio play, it doesn't have that sort of traction. And so other people were telling me, oh, that's the platinum formula. If you can do that, you just duplicate that other ways. That's what EMI is going to do. We were on EMI Records. Anyway, EMI bought the record whole hog from the indie they were working with, Wild Pitch. And we got excited. We were like, they bought it. They bought the second half. They were 50-50 partners. They bought it. So, and we're doing well on the radio. So obviously they're about to take it wide. And they bought it. And the next week they were like, we're not working it. So I got depressed. I was like,
so they bought it to kill it.
They bought it to kill it. And so I was like, damn, what am I doing? At that point, I was 24. And I was like, I've been wasting my whole life being an artist.
This is a historic example, but if major labels are actively buying up independent records specifically to shelve them and kill their momentum, how can a truly disruptive artist such as him ever achieve mainstream distribution without being silenced? But let's kind of flip that question. How does that happen today? Because obviously back then that's a whole nother thing, right?
Today, honestly, you can't be silenced. Now, if you have you're looking for a record label or somebody to help push the situation, that's a different story. But the advantage that we have right now is I can just put this out so anybody can consume my message. But in the same token, a lot of people have to agree with the message or feel how powerful the message is to share it amongst themselves or amongst friends. And hopefully that gains a buzz and, you know what I'm saying, builds that way. But honestly, if a record label or the record industry wants to kill an album, they have the means and the money to do so. So
yeah, I guess if you're operating within that mainstream system, I think so. Yeah, and I think even within the question itself, I think I kind of see the answer to this question.
I'm with you on the part that you just the mainstream part.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, I mean they're going to dead whatever they're going to dead.
100%. Yeah,
they will. And we talked about the ills of the digital age, just a few minutes ago. But that's one of the things that's good about the digital age is that there isn't somebody or a group of shareholders that can just say, nah, we don't like that. We don't want our kids to hear that, because if it has real motion, like the song he was talking about, I remember it was, there was a video for it. I remember seeing it on MTV.
Yeah.
It's not like the Coup was like they were just pushed down to the bottom. Like I remember them having mainstream looks, being in quote unquote mixed show. It's not like I'm like, oh, who is this group, the Coup? When I see Boots Riley, I remember them being on TV, and being on the radio. And so like I think now we're in a situation to where you just can't kill a movement like that. Even if you want to, you can say, okay, we're not going to have this on the radio. But once again, the relationship between radio and records is nowhere near what it was in the 1990s when he's talking about his record being out. At one point, it was a symbiotic relationship. They definitely needed each other. So if somebody in, one of those boardrooms says, no, we're going to kill this, it was done. Now, honestly, the stuff that's on the radio I'm not going to say it doesn't resonate with people because radio is still very powerful. But, someone like Larry June, who has a real following,
JPEG Mafia.
There are people that have no, even on the other side, NBA Youngboy. The people they have no relationship with radio.
Yeah.
And they're still able to do what they have to do and reach the people. If the people pick you, then there's only so much that the people in the ivory towers can do to quell whatever it is your message is. Now, are they going to push another message?
Yeah.
Yes, they're going to push it, until they burn it out, and then they'll just find someone else to push the bullshit. But as far as like something that actually has a counterculture message, and if people are actually into it, then there's really not. There's nobody that can really just push the button and say shut that down.
I just don't think. I mean, like you said, counterculture movements don't really exist in the mainstream. I mean, on the fringes a little bit. You might see it here or there. You might see them pop up with, again, like back in the day. You might have known the Coup, right? You might have seen certain things, but you're not going to get the full gist of it, unless they are just fully undeniable, Rage Against the Machine type
you gotta
of,
hide it in the applesauce.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's
because the Coup was like it was like they were out, but it's like a one-off. It wasn't.
No.
Man,
They had,
well, he means
genocide and juice. Come on,
no. Don't know what I'm talking about.
He means one-off in the sense of there weren't a lot of the coups.
That's what I'm talking about.
No. I mean, just like there weren't a lot of Public Enemies, there weren't a lot of X-Clans.
There's never been a lot of the politically charged artists, but
that have
there was
crossed
a time,
over like that.
Right, but there was a time where they could thrive because the message was so potent and it sounded good. Like you just brought up Rage Against the Machine. A lot of people that were into Rage Against the Machine and artists like that weren't even really listening to what they were talking about.
Hell no.
So when they actually found out where they stood, it's like, hold on, I thought you was with me. And it's like, you didn't listen to what I was talking about.
Well, I think even bigger is specifically with the Rage and also to the Boots thing. And I watched this interview, so I kind of saw what he was talking about. He's like, like people are a lot closer. You change minds through emotion and through emotional connection. And just getting on here and just preaching at the top of your lungs that something isn't necessarily going to convert somebody.
Exactly.
But like it's like the movie he made, Sorry to Bother You. It's got a very big political message in that.
Yeah.
But it's not something that's like, it's kind of inviting at the same time.
Because it was so off.
It's off, but it's also like, it's a little weird. It's not like in your face
it's
directly.
Funny.
It kind of invites people in at their own leisure, if you will. That's one of the reasons why I like Hasan Piker as a streamer, because he is, or as a political analyst in the way he does, he understands the theory and all the stuff that he does, but he doesn't approach it in a way of like, I'm just going to hit you with theory all day, every day. And I'm going to be like, oh, you're not doing this right. He's like, nah, my goal is to bring people from here to here.
Yeah.
And that's what I think good art should be able to do.
You don't want to feel like you're being preached to.
Yeah.
You want to feel like that you're being educated, but at the same time entertained.
They're bringing you from here to here. Rage brought you from here to here.
Yeah.
They brought the people that were like completely anti-establishment to the people that were maybe a little bit upset at their jobs. And it kind of let people meet in the middle, and then those people work that out, and then you have that, and you can kind of like unpack that indoctrination maybe a little bit if on your own terms. You know what I mean? But it's bringing people there. So yeah, but back to this thing, like I don't think it can really be truly achieved in the mainstream like that. But I do think, to your guys' point, I do think the counterculture movements have a lot more potential now, really, than anything, to potentially thrive and to live in their own kind of sect.
And it's crazy because hip hop at one point in time was the counterculture. So it had all of these different artists and messages all intertwined in the same counterculture, but it's been taken over by corporations.
Yeah.
And then something like Boots Riley's talking about happens, where your song that has traction is now being bought. So you've now received some money for it to be shelved. So now you don't make anything else off of it.
Yeah.
And him speaking as an artist, I think is very important, because some people will be okay with you receiving compensation for it because it was bought. But if more of it was about me getting this message across at the same time, then now I feel like you bought my silence, because I can still perform the song, but you slowed down all the movement.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I'm saying, shut my water off, essentially.
Yeah.
So as somebody that actually wants to be involved in making artistry, you know what I'm saying? That's draining. That can do a lot to you.
Or really legitimately wants to change the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, this little bit of money is cool and all, but it's not helping my intentions. You know, money
this doesn't pacify me.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here's another one.
So Rage Against the Machine, they were going to do a music video for Sleep Now in the Fire. And it was going to be directed by Michael Moore. Their whole idea was, hey, we're going to go on Wall Street, play loud, get arrested, and that's going to be the music video. So they go, they play once, nothing happens, some security doors close. They play again, people are kind of looking, nothing's happening. The third time they start playing, they start hearing this noise that goes, rah, rah, rah. They don't know what it is. It's just getting louder. Coming from around the corner, they see a horde of people in business suits coming toward them. And they're the ones that are going, rah, rah, rah. As they get closer, they can tell what that noise is. It's that horde of people in business suits who obviously work on Wall Street saying, suits for rage, suits for rage. And there's that contradiction. They're saying it in the thing. They're saying, we're suits, we work on Wall Street, we like what Rage Against the Machine is saying. And I think that has to do with, in general, that most people in the world, and even in the United States, wish that the world was different.
Which kind of speaks to what we were just talking about a little bit. So when Wall Street executives in business suits are cheering along to a radical anti-system music, does it prove the message is breaking through, or has the corporate class successfully neutralized the art, which kind of goes to what we were talking about?
Well, it's also a thing where there are uncool people who want to feel cool, even if it's just for a minute.
Sure.
And
but maybe that's the power of that.
And yeah.
You know what I mean? In a way?
I think that's what it is, because at the same time, if you ask those people in suits, well, do you want the whole concept of what it is that you get up and go to work every day and do to be neutralized and dismantled? They'd probably say no.
Right.
But they do like the idea of countercultural movements, but they don't like the practical application that would actually take something away from them.
They're not going to sign up for the program. They'll attend the information meeting, but they're not going to sign up for it. It's kind of similar to, I don't know if y'all have seen the movie. Well,
liberalism.
I know a lot of people here have seen I'm Going to Get You Sucker, but the part where he talks about the group going in City Hall with guns and they came out with jobs.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, in this situation, these people, we talking about Wall Street suits, they're making a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
I might still be down with the message that you're talking about, but I'm not quitting my job to stand with you. I might support you from where I'm at, but I'm going to clock in tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get this money. And it's like the message is always, you know what I'm saying? It means well to them, but it's like, I'm never going to get down and lay down with you. It's kind of like people who identify or like rap music at one point in time in their life or the culture, and then decide that that's beside me now. That was just a moment in time that, you know what I'm saying, I was just into it. You weren't really into it.
You like the music.
You like the music, and you wanted to
like
be
how it
cool.
made you feel.
It made you feel cool.
Yeah.
It's just like when I brought this up before on the show, when there was one night, it was when the Republicans had, taken over like the House and the Senate, and that was during one of the midterms. And, local Indianapolis Republicans came into Coach's Tavern and to, kind of gather and I guess celebrate. And, when it was time for them to request songs, they'd be like, I want to hear Public Enemy.
Yeah.
I want to hear Too Short.
Or NWA.
I want to, you want to hear all these things. And it's like, oh, you must have only been listening to the beat, or you must have liked wearing the T-shirt because it made you seem cool, or even just you got to wear the accoutrement of counterculturalism, when you're in high school, and didn't actually have to.
You didn't have to live it.
Yeah, you didn't have to live it. You could take it off when you were done, and then still go and have your right wing beliefs and work on Wall Street or whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
And if that's who you are, but but it's like, all right, man, like in a way, I'm like, okay, here's something we could all unite under, but at the same time, I hear the music and identify with it. You hear the music, and it's just something for you to dance to and take off once you're done with it.
We've seen that for years, though. We've seen people associate themselves with the culture to a certain extent, because it's kind of like what Terry was talking about. Yeah, I'm down. I like it. Like how it makes me feel. I'm cool, but I'm not going to risk anything for the betterment of what I'm listening to, if that makes sense. It's not about the culture, it's about association. Yeah, we're going to tiptoe around the edges, but I'm not really about to, and like he said, the concept about, potentially losing your job for something.
You're still part of the establishment at the end of the day. They're never going to sign up for the program.
100%.
And in the same thing, it exists, you know what I'm saying, corporately, it exists politically, all of that. It doesn't matter what facet of life you're in. If you feel like something that was cool, you're only going to think it's cool. You're not going to act on the actual strengths that it's bringing up or the points that it's trying to make.
Yeah.
You're only identifying with the cool.
It moves you to a certain point, but there's always a limit when we talk about stuff like this. People will get to the edge. Nobody's going to immerse themselves in the actual culture, but they'll look good just being around is the way I see it.
No, it's just like, because I know we get on him on a regular, but he deserves it. Kid Rock, I remember seeing him, in one of these hip hop documentaries talk about how much he loves Public Enemy, but once again, he was just putting that on as a costume to seem cool and to seem like he was about something. But when
I got black friends,
but in his real life, he's all about wearing that Confederate flag. That's who he really is.
There you go. That's real.